Hello everyone, Pineapple Apple here with the next 2 episodes of Miraculous Ladybug. Last time we dealt with the Pharaoh and Lady Wi-Fi, learned a little of the Ladybug Miraculous's past, and dealt with Chloe being a bitch. Wait, that's not really special in this show, is it? Well, anyway, why don't we get into today's episodes? First up is Timebreaker. That really sounds like an 80s sci-fi movie. We start the episode with Marinette's mum, Sabine, fancying herself up for her wedding anniversary, with both her and her husband freaking out to try and look their best. They are relying on Marinette to make sure a customer gets a pretty tasty looking Eiffel Tower cake, so I wonder how she's going to screw this up. They make some time-based puns because Timebreaker, and we are taken to the restaurant in Chloe's hotel from the last episode, where Sabine and Tom have an anniversary lunch and see one of Marinette's friends, Alex Kubdal? I'm gonna pretend like I know how to pronounce that and say, I don't know, I'll decide on a case-by-case basis. Whose brother and father were the pair from episode 3. Her father is nice, but just doesn't get her. You know, those teenage tropes that are so great to watch. As it's also her birthday, her father wants to gift her a family heirloom, a pocket watch made by her ancestors. So, wait, I have a problem here. He wants to pass it down to her on her 15th birthday, but shouldn't it have gone to her older brother? Unless you only pass it down to females in the family, and in that case, were he and his wife just prepared to bone until they got a girl? That seems highly impractical. Anyway, Alex already has a good watch, but it's got some secret qualities, so she snatches it up, and he asks her to take good care of it. So either it's going to break or get stolen. Come on, I know how this shit works. Back with Marinette, she attempts to study, but Alia calls her, and what a surprise, she forgot about something. Alex and Kim are going to race, and Marinette needs to bring a banner. But wait, I hear you ask. Isn't she supposed to stay home and wait for the cake to be picked up? Seriously, I just predicted how the pocket watch stuff would go. Of course she will be irresponsible, fuck up, but then have everything resolved by the end. It's just how shows like this work. Marinette has 20 minutes, so to speed up, has the immaculate idea to use Ladybug to get there quicker. How irresponsible. Adrien is there to distract Marinette with his sexy winking, or whatever the hell was going on there. And Kim and Alex berate each other a bit before Max sets the rules. If he wins, he gets her rollerblades, but if she wins, he stops making stupid bets for the whole school year. Bets like the one they're currently fulfilling. Because she doesn't want it destroyed, Alex gives the watch to Alia, who gives it to Marinette because she has to record the race. If you think it's safe with Marinette, either you trust your friend too much, or you're just simple. I don't have the space on my 2 hands to count the amount of times I've seen this bitch fall over and break shit. Alex wins, but Marinette gives the watch to Adrien, who gets it taken by Chloe, and Jesus Christ takes it, and then he gives it to John Malkovich, and then he goes on a rant and breaks it. That was a lie, but you get how ridiculous this is. Surprise, surprise, it breaking makes Alex upset. And she makes what was, to me, a strange declaration of how it was everyone's fault, making it sound like that they would rue the day they crossed Alex. She leaves and Hawkmoth monologues an Akuma at her. Now, back to the really riveting stuff. The newscaster lady is at the shop to get the cake, but Marinette isn't there. So she calls Sabine and Tom, who are only just now getting their food. How long have... Okay, I'm not even going to think about the timeline in a time-based episode. Let's move on. Alex tells Marinette to piss off, and Timebreaker is born. Hawkmoth gives her the ability to go back in time. And no, I don't really like Alex's villain design, I just don't know why. Alex uses her powers to take people's time energy to power herself to go back. Marinette transforms where anyone could have seen her, and knocks Timebreaker over, who annoyingly makes Rose sacrifice herself. Adrian follows Marinette's lead and transforms in an even riskier spot than Marinette, with a tree as his only cover, and it's barely thicker than him. I give you the most incompetent superheroes of all time. Imagine if Bruce Wayne was having a fancy dinner party, because rich, and saw a villain making a scene, so he gets in the middle of the goddamn room and just starts changing into his batsuit thinking, haha, the catering is so good, they must be distracted, no one will know my identity. It's about as stupid as that. Timebreaker gets more people and eventually gets her hands on Cat Noir, but is thrown by Ladybug before she can get the ring. So she zooms away and uses her stored up power to take her and Ladybug to the past. This time, Ladybug and Timebreaker distract Chloe, and she drops the watch, making the other Alex get pissed off and leading to bad puns from Hawkmoth, turning her into Timebreaker again. That's great. Adrian transforms in the same goddamn terrible spot, and Ladybug sends herself back to the bakery to deliver the cake. The Timebreakers team up and fight the heroic duo in a fight scene that's a little odd, and hold up, there are just fucking civilians in the background walking around like nothing's wrong. What the fuck? This is worse than in My Hero Academia, where civilians actively gather up and watch heroes fight. But at least there they actually know what's going on. Timebreakers run away and kill civilians, and the lady gets her cake, thank God, because that was the crux of this episode. Now that the cake is delivered, the past, present, second Ladybug. Alright, I'm going to call the one that time-travelled Ladybug 1, and the one who didn't time-travel Ladybug 2. Ladybug 2 transforms, while Cat and Ladybug 1 continue to fight the Timebreakers, only to be joined by Ladybug 2 while Cat does cat things. Now outnumbered, the Timebreakers want to go back again, so both Ladybugs use their lucky charm. Cat destroys public property to stop the Timebreakers from gathering enough speed, allowing both Ladybugs to stop them with the power of slapstick logic, breaking the skates and de-evilizing the Akuma in tandem. Wait a minute. As reality is fixed, both a Ladybug and a Timebreaker disappear. Did they just fucking die? The watch is fixed and Alex learns a lesson on responsibility. Cat flirts and Hawkmoth monologues like a Scooby-Doo villain. Marinette's parents get back and say some uninteresting and ironic things, and the episode ends with a hug. Okay, so this episode wasn't bad. There were interesting things, like Alex's family lineage and the time travel aspect, but honestly, I found Alex a little whiny in this episode to take seriously. And the Marinette delivers cake subplot kind of felt like a ploy to have the message of responsibility and keeping time shoved in there like a show for toddlers. So overall, a mixed bag, but mostly unoffensive. I'll give episode 5, Timebreaker, a 5.5 out of 10. Now let's get on to episode 6, Mr. Pigeon. Oh my god, that's so stupid. Marinette's class is having a fashion competition. They must each make an item to be judged by Adrian's father, Gabriel Agreste, as he is the leading fashion designer in the city. Or something like that. And as a model, Adrian will wear said item for his next shoot. The fashion item in question being a derby hat. I don't know what I expected when they said that, but I was hoping for Destruction Derby. I'm kinda disappointed. Marinette freaks out, like usual. Adrian comes over and his compliments of her designs turn her into the most frustrating source of off-putting dialogue I have ever seen since this guy. Chloe schemes with Sabrina brown-nosing her, while Hawkmoth speaks to the air. Marinette sits by the Eiffel Tower and sketches many designs in a montage, and sees this stranger feeding and speaking to the pigeons, as Sabrina's father, Roger, tells off Xavier for feeding them. Roger, as a police officer, tells Xavier to piss off, because according to him, Paris is sick of him feeding the birds. I didn't know Paris could come together as such a collective. So the police are leaving Hawkmoth to a couple teenagers and an elderly Asian man while they deal with the real criminals. People feeding pigeons and probably jaywalkers. Xavier inspires Marinette and Tiki, but is scouted to be Hawkmoth's latest victim, becoming Mr. Pigeon. Fucking hell. That's a ridiculous villain name, and I honestly think this is the only show where it would fit. Actually, maybe it would fit in The Boys, but seriously, this is ridiculous, and the fact that he's such a threat, he gets an entire episode to himself, is a testament to how this show displays its more cartoonish tones while still being somehow interesting. Also, he kinda looks like someone Filthy Frank would dress up as. Chloe and Sabrina scheme, and like a smart ass with an NFT, take a photo of someone else's work to steal it. So, Chloe is infuriating, and we go to Marinette's humble abode where she crafts the hat, but forgets a feather. She returns to her drawing spot, finding the pigeons have returned, and gains a feather. She runs into Roger, literally, as he is bird-napped? The city becomes overrun with pigeons. Wait, this bus driver just told everyone to get off the bus, but the only one who even hears him is Marinette?
Pigeons have taken over Paris.
Wow, I never thought I would hear that. And by the way, with this bus thing and the civilians walking around the active fight before, are these 2 episodes in a row with glaring animation errors? Mr. Pigeon makes an eloquent speech on the news, and Marinette runs into the subway, pretending that transforming in the middle of the hallway is a good idea, and meets Cat Noir below. The pigeon planes? What's going on anymore? Cat is apparently allergic to the pigeons, and the park keepers who had wronged Mr. Pigeon are disappearing. Marinette's great plan to lure the villain out is to dress Cat as a police officer. And what that means is putting a hat on his head and making him do Gangnam Style and the moonwalk. What the fuck is going on? The pigeons find them and call Mr. Pigeon to their position. They swoop down and bird-nap Cat Noir as Ladybug gives chase, landing on the rooftop of Chloe's home/hotel. I will never be sure which. Mr. Pigeon arrives and drops a cage on the heroes. Wait a second. It took till now for me to realise, but Mr. Pigeon is played by Todd friggin' Haberkorn. As in Natsu Dragneel from that really long show Fairy Tail, and that weird guy from My Hero Academia, and also Teru Teru, but ew. He threatens them for the miraculous by attempting to have the birds shit on them. Oh god. But Cat cataclysms out of the cage. But how do I describe this? The birds become constructs, like it's a goddamn Green Lantern, and he sends the heroes retreating into the building. Cat has to refuel, and they make a strange, and I mean really off-putting toilet joke to get him out of there. A member of the staff promptly delivers him some camembert for Plague in a secluded room, while Ladybug heads to the dining hall. She spots where the pigeons are gathering, and the heroes follow once reunited. They find Mr. Pigeon keeping his mortal enemies, the park groundskeepers, in the Grand Palais. I don't know where that is, but I'm assuming that it's someplace in France. The villain seems to be absent, but has a trap waiting. The heroes are a step ahead and attack from above, but a stray sneeze from Cat Noir and a strangely used Doctor Who sounding sound effect alert the villain to their presence. Seriously, how does Ladybug's yo-yo sound like a Dalek blaster? It's weird. The confrontation continues just as ridiculously as it started, and Ladybug uses her lucky charm, a coin, to tie Mr. Pigeon up and have his birds turn against him using the power of popcorn she used the coin to get from a vending machine. What the fuck is my life anymore if I have to watch and review this? Cat Noir drops the akumatized pigeon caller, because of course he does, and Ladybug, using the power of whatever bullshit logic lets her break it like this, releases the Akuma and saves the day. Hawkmoth monologues and we get back to the main plot. Marinette's hat, because that's what we're all here for. Gabriel's assistant Natalie and an iPad wearing his face, because absent father is absent, shows up for the competition. The expected stunt Chloe pulls is easily solved as Marinette signed her goddamn hat. She wins while Chloe runs off like a little bitch, and the episode caps off with a nice comedy scene as Adrian learns that the hat is bird related by sneezing. Okay, so that fever dream of an episode is over. What did I think? Well, the characters, even if a bit exaggerated like Roger and Xavier himself, felt a little out of place. I can't say it was bad. The hat subplot was uninteresting, but at least skipped over some tropes in its concise ending. The Mr. Pigeon portion of the episode, well, I guess I can't say it didn't keep me entertained, even if I wondered whether or not I was on drugs half the time. I think I'll rate it the same as the last episode, an around average 5.5 out of 10. And before we do the outro, I just have to say, we just hit 300 subscribers, and holy shit, thank you so much. I never thought I'd get that far, and I'm striving to go further. So, let's see if we can hit 400 by the end of the year. I'll be crossing my fingers. Thank you everybody so much for watching this review of Miraculous, episode 5 and 6. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to, and ring the notification bell so you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.